It's a beautiful morning here in San Antonio, and yes, basketball is back. We hope you have your coffee ready as we get ready to tip off the annual Silver and Black Open Scrimmage. He wants to show that you can come back from an injury like this, a torn Achilles, that people often say you can't come back from, and show that he can be powerful. We're going to throw it down to Tony Parker right now on the court.
On behalf of my teammates and the whole Spurs organization, just want to say thank you for the support. You were great last year, and hopefully we can have a great year. Go as far as we can, you know we'll work hard. So thank you very much.
Tony, of course, an interesting story. We all know about the injury last year that ended his season. I'm anxious to see what he does this season.
And Kawhi, obviously, we know him for his all-around game. People really harp on him on the defensive end. We actually got to hear from some of the players throughout the season on Danny Green and his defensive performance, how important he is. And Joffrey, we talked to him about 2 days ago at practice, and he has quite a bit of experience with some of these guys. Not only Tony, but he played with Davis in Serbia for 2 years, so he said he's excited to get back on the floor. And Manu Ginobili, first two of the game, not surprising. So happy to see him back in the silver and black. He said that Manu has been so helpful to him as a leader, as a coach of some way, and it doesn't matter what he's doing on the floor. He just has so many elements to his game, whether it's leadership or coaching. He brings so much to this team.
You see, just what you were talking about right there, he's really set it up by drawing the double team.
And now Pau Gasol with the ball. He was one of 3 guys on this team that played in Eurobasket this summer. And what a summer for Pau Gasol, wow. Bronze medal.
Pau's got the same type of basketball IQ. And his second year in the system, I think he's going to be very effective.
And Davis Bertans, his second season as well with the silver and black, as Danny Green knocks down a 3. We like to see that out of him. Looking forward to much more of that this season. But back to Davis, he finally got his chance to play with Lafayette this summer. He's been waiting for that after coming off 2 ACL injuries. Couldn't play last summer because he was joining the Spurs, and he was so excited to be a part of that team. And how about DeJounte Murray there? You know, how much has he added to his game heading into his second season? He's going to play a much bigger role, especially at the start.
Oh, yeah, especially without Tony to start the season. DeJounte, very, very important. He worked very hard this summer, spent some time with Kawhi. If you want to work hard with a guy who works hard, and I thought he did very well. I think that he learned an awful lot. He knows the type of level that he's got to get to really help this ball club, and he's working very hard to get there.
I think he's shown a lot of maturity as well. You see finding Pau Gasol right there. But even the way so I'm excited to see him take the court here. Davis Bertans for 3, just a little bit short. But back to Davis this summer. I mean, how great was it to see him have the ability to go back and play for Latvia?
And Latvia had a great tournament there in Eurobasket, of course, led by Porzingis. But they've got some really good young players now in Latvia. Davis was telling me last year that they've got some really good young guys, and they showed it last summer in the tournament. That's 2 for 2 now for Danny Green from three-point range. He really wants to improve that three-point percentage.
Need to shoot the ball this year. Just a little overhead. Kyle Anderson picks it up. Oh, is he going to take it? And let's see.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, 3 for 3.
You know, when Danny hits his first shot, and I talk about this all the time on the radio, when Danny hits his first shot.
And it's interesting because during our media day interviews, we talk so much about Danny Green's defense, but man, that guy can shoot the ball as well.
He's very good catch and shoot three-pointer. Speaking of three-pointer, you know, Manu Ginobili is the all-time leader in Spurs history in three-pointers made.
Out. Whose hands do you want the ball in?
Well, that's the great thing about this ball club. I think that there's a bunch of guys that can take that final shot. And they're not afraid about taking it. Look at that spin move by Joffrey Laverne. I mentioned to Walter Stoops, my statistician, before the game, take that backup big role that David Lee had, David West the year before. Like I said, he's in his 4th year. He played overseas as well. He's got some experience. He's played in some good programs with the Bulls and the Thunder.
And that's a beautiful take by Rudy Gay, and that's what people want to see.
Marvelous summer.
Oh, my gosh.
And he's not shy about putting the shot up. And he's worked a lot on his ball handling so he can help out at the point guard spot as well as the 2-guard position.
And that's what we see right there out of Bryn Forbes, is really improving his ball handling, as you mentioned.
From distance. But Bryn Forbes had such a marvelous summer. You can see the confidence in Bryn Forbes. He's not hesitating at all. And
that was a strong take by LaMarcus Aldridge. Love to see that out of him. experience. I actually had the chance to cover him while I was working at the Big East, so I'm pretty familiar with his game, and he has played the last 2 years with the Pistons. He had a pretty impressive showing there as well. So it definitely two great additions. There's Bryn Forbes stepping out for the three. You can see not only his ball handling, but his shooting percentage is going up as well.
He's clearly worked very, very hard, and as I mentioned, he's not hesitating at all. He's just firing it away. That was a very solid quarter, I think, for both sides.
I think we saw a lot, and Black is leading Silver 24-19 after the first quarter. On the Spurs Summer League team to make it to training camp. If you put on a great performance, all the coaches have your eyes on you.
Yeah, and other teams that might need a point guard, they get to see him as well. And Peralta's had a great career at Virginia. He's the all-time leader game with the Mavs Summer League team, and that opened the eyes of the Spurs executives.
Yeah, we were watching some highlights from him, and he was knocking down some crazy threes. So bringing that shooting range to this Spurs team is obviously going to. Anderson. Oh, that's a nice little fake out there, picked up by Rudy Gay. I just love seeing Rudy Gay run the floor. I'm always, you know, as he mentioned, there we go, we see Patty Mills take it inside. But we heard from Danny Green yesterday at practice, and Danny said that Derek reminds him a lot of himself. Comes in very good at a lot of things, but he's still working to be great at one or a few.
Briefly, but he played in the G League for a while, was at the end of the bench for the Cavs for a while. Even got released by the Spurs after he first came to San Antonio. But he's been marvelous. And, you know, you get that kind of offensive rebound there from Kyle Anderson. And Kyle's got a couple of baskets now. Kyle was working very well earlier with Bryn Forbes. We talked about Bryn improving his point guard skills. He had a nice pass earlier to Kyle for a basket.
And there we go. Long three there by Derek White. Going back, and Davis last season. And, of course, you see Jonathan Simmons was there, Kyle, Danny, just these players that have developed their game and continue to grow.
Absolutely. There's that's the second time Manu missed a pass to Rudy Gay. That time a little bit tall, but you know he saw it there, and that's the fun part about Manu's game. He might throw one into the second row, but the next time it's going to be right on the money, and he's exciting to watch still at the age of 40.
We have DeJounte Murray handling the ball. And LaMarcus pulling out for a jump shot. He has that ability. He's been working on that range.
Earlier, much better last year from beyond the arc than he did in his first year with the Spurs. And it just more range. Laverne, who comes off the bench, he's got range as well.
Well, that was good defense by Breed there. There we go. We see the range from Pau Gasol.
As if on cue. We're talking about the stuff, and there it goes, right?
He heard us.
Yep. DeJounte guarding Patty there. This is one of the great things that Patty Mills does, is we see there, he comes off screens so well. Therefore, because of that, they've got some flexibility.
Here we have Bryn Forbes attacking the rim. Just a beautiful move by Bryn. I think his confidence grew tremendously after that Summer League performance. Joffrey LeBron taking the ball up the court right now. Handoff to Manu Ginobili. Oh, and what a beautiful find inside by Joffrey to Davis Bertans. That's that connection we talked about. They played for 2 years together in Serbia, and they're finding each other just like the old days.
From Spanish radio.
All right, let's bring it in. Thank you, Bill, so much. And now we're going to bring in Mr. Paul Castro. How are you doing today, sir?
Good to see everyone today.
Good. Can't believe we're already back.
I know. I love it.
Hard to believe.
I think the summers go by faster and faster. Look at, like right now. Quarter's over. Come on.
Great to see these guys blending in together, getting runs in, and seeing potential lineups out there.
Oh, exactly. And I think that those guys shouldn't play anyway. You know, they're going to get their time.
Season. He spent last year with the Bulls, coming over from France. What are your expectations for Joffrey heading into this season?
Well, he's going to have to produce right away. He's going to have to help us right away because it's important that, and I think he brings that toughness too, like Manu did. So once we get to see him a little more, because over the last 3 years, really haven't seen a lot of it.
Right, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Spurs use this lineup, because we talked to LaMarcus at practice yesterday, and he's told us that he's looking to expand his game positive than Patty Mills. That guy is always, he's got the towel going.
Yes.
He is bringing the energy at all times. He always is raising his teammates up, and it's so important to have a guy like that on your team. Kyle Anderson, what a strong take. he's been continuing to work on his game this season if needed. It's just incredible.
Why
that
not?
Exactly.
Why
Why
not?
not?
Played point guard for a couple of
There you
games,
go.
right? Yeah.
You got to have guys that can play different positions on the floor, and as I mentioned, the game is going to a small ball kind of way of play, so to have to see out of Rudy Gay this season.
You know what? I've been watching Rudy's his whole career, and I was unfortunate about the Achilles tendon last year, but that injury isn't like it used to be in the past. You can fix it, you can come back from it, and I'm expecting him just to be a big-time contributor. He's both, but they can't read and understand basketball and what's going on. He's one of those guys that can.
And I talked to him a couple weeks ago. We had our introduction interview with him, and he said this season he's just looking to get back to being one of the top 10 guys when it comes to small forward position, and he wants to break the stigma, as you mentioned, beginning of the game, addressing the fans. He says he's way ahead of schedule, which obviously Spurs fans are so excited to hear. You know, he's still going to rehab for probably the next 2 months, but he says he wants to come back stronger than ever. Do you think
things happen? But one thing I've always noticed that if you're a Spur, you always come back strong. You're a strong player under the system, under Coach Pop, under your teammates. It just makes you a different kind of player.
Right.
You know, so I believe it. I believe that Tony's going to be back, and he's going to do his part like always, and we'll go from there.
And while Tony, and for fans that pay attention to him on social media, he seems like he's in the gym every day, every night. What do you expect to see out of DeJounte Murray this season? Well,
first of all, I like the fact that he's watching what Kawhi is doing. Kawhi is a gym rat. He loves to get better every year, and he's gotten better every year. Because those guys are ready. They know the game. They know the plays, and they see each other all the time.
It's really great. And the Spurs, I think, have done it just as good as any team out there. We've seen such tremendous growth out of their players. As we get ready to wrap up, quarter number 3, Black leads Silver 51-48. Paul Castro, thank you so much.
When I say score at will, there's a connection between the cerebral part of Rudy Gay's game and the athletic and the skill part.
Talking about earlier on this game, that it looks like the starting lineups for these teams resemble maybe the starting 5 and the 5 off the bench, minus Kawhi obviously not playing today. Tony still out with his injury. We have Kyle.
It was the same as Bryn in San Antonio. It's that single-minded focus of how do I get better to earn the playing time, and even earn the playing time in Austin. I'm not here just to get the time. I need to do what I have to do. I'll go back to a story. Brad Jones, coach in Austin, in first half or second half. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said the first half, as Patty with the steal, he said Corey didn't understand the speed. He thought he was just going to come here. Second half, everything, who the Spurs are who's coming from Austin, and that becomes, you know, our new favorite or a new fan for us to cheer.
And right now with the ball, Manu Ginobili, I mean, people went crazy when he
Just
emerged
took
from the locker room.
Yeah.
How glad are you to see Manu back on the floor?
I wasn't ready for him to walk away.
No.
I was not.
Was anyone? I don't think so.
No, I've always said he's almost like a son here in San Antonio. I think this is a town that thinks that he is family. He's our son, and there's that pride. There's always been, I'll use the word warm. I think there's a warmer reception for Manu because he's just been embraced here, and he's embraced them right back, the fans. No, when he came on and to hear this entire crowd. And I love the way he acknowledges as well, as he's always done, as you've seen, whether it's here or in another building, constantly signing autographs. But I think he's embraced this. I think there is that competitor in him. I think he loves being a teammate. I think he loves playing with his teammates, and that was the decision to bring him back. But no, I'm with you. I had to stop what I was doing when he came out of the tunnel and onto the floor because of such the reception.
It's incredible to see. Just so good to have the guys back here at the AT&T Center. I mean, it feels like last week we were wrapping up the Western Conference Finals.
It does.
How did this happen so quickly?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. There have been, you have to go back for me to, 89, the end of the first Orlando Magic season, and they still seem to run together. But it's wonderful to be back together.
Well, after this final buzzer ring, Silver wins 63-58. Joffrey Laverne led the Silver team with 14. Danny Green with 12. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live today. Can't believe basketball season's back, but so excited that it is. I'm with Andrew Monaco. You'll be seeing a bunch of us this season on Fox Sports Southwest. First preseason game on Monday in Sacramento, 9 p.m. Let's tune into WOAI with Bill Schoening. team will be back on Friday, October 6th against Sacramento once again for the first preseason game of the season. They've got 5, and then home opener on